Okay, so the iPhone 14 is the biggest upcoming smartphone release of the year. And after that, we have the Galaxy S23 in January. So based on everything that we know so far, should you wait for the iPhone 14 or should you wait a bit longer and maybe get the S23? So let's start up with the lineup. Apple is said to be offering two sizes with the iPhone 14. So 6.1 inches and then 6.7 inches, and two models for each, the non-pros and then the pros. Yes, sadly, there will be no mini model this year. And instead, we would have the 14 Max. Samsung, on the other hand, is expected to have three sizes with the S23 line, the same ones actually as with the S22s. So that's the S23, 6.1 inches, S23 Plus, 6.6 inches, and S23 Ultra, 6.8 inches. So you do get more choice with Samsung in terms of the sizes and also in terms of the specs, as the Ultra model is significantly better than the non-Ultras, whereas with Apple, the Pro models are just a tiny bit better than the non-Pros. I'm going to cover all the details in just a bit, but when it comes to the overall design, this is a very personal choice. The iPhone 14 line would have the same design on the non-Pro models as we have now with the 13s, but then the 14 Pros would be getting that pill-shaped cutout on the front. With the S23s, we're actually not expecting any major design changes, so we're actually expecting basically the same design with some new colors as we had on the S22 line. So from the front, the S23s would be my pick because they have some super thin bezels, and then from the back, I would probably have to say Samsung again because of that frosted matte black look. Now let's talk about the ecosystem. And I think the main difference here is between quantity and quality. So with Samsung, you have a lot of products, from smartphones and tablets to even fridges and smart TVs and smart ovens. But the integration between these products is quite minimal. The good news is that they also work well with other Android devices. Now, if you take a look at Apple, they don't have as many products, like they don't have TVs or fridges or vacuums, but they work really well between each other. You have stuff like Continuity, SharePlay, Universal Control, where you can use your Mac's keyboard and mouse directly on the iPad. So you have this magical integration in a way. In fact, even Apple's TV box integrates better with their devices than Samsung's entire TV integrates with, Samsung devices. So I think in terms of the ecosystem, it really depends on what you prefer. Do you prefer a seamless integration, or do you prefer having more options? Speaking of options, it's actually a completely different story when it comes to accessories, because you have way more accessories for Apple products. If you take a look at the Apple Watch, for example, you have so many more bands on Amazon that you could choose from. You also have loads of MagSafe accessories and mounts. So yeah, if you care about, the accessory market, then Apple is the king here. And with Apple, you also have devices that only work within the Apple ecosystem, stuff like the HomePod or the AirPods. They're pretty much useless with Android because of volume issues. And even the Apple Watch. Like, if you really want an Apple Watch, you have to go with Apple. Even if you do lose on that massive pool of choice that the Android smartwatches offer in terms of different designs. Not even to mention the fact that Apple has a lot of other services like Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, all of which work best inside Apple's ecosystem. Apple TV Plus, for example, allows you to download movies offline on Apple devices using the app, which does not exist on Android. Samsung used to have Milk Music, if anyone remembers that. But I think ecosystem-wise, overall, there is just no comparison. Apple easily takes this one. Now, when it comes to the cameras, both the iPhone 14 and the S23s are actually getting some pretty big upgrades, specifically on the Pro models. So that's the 14 Pros and the S23 Ultra. Now, you cannot go wrong with any of them. Like, all models will have some great cameras, but the main difference that you need to be aware of is that you have way more zoom on the S23 Ultra. So you'll have a 3x optical zoom module, and then also at least a 10x, which might even get some more improvements over the S22 Ultra. Whereas on the iPhone, you would still only have that 3x single optical zoom module. The non-Pro models of the iPhone 14 will also be inferior to the non-Pro models of the Galaxy S23, as these ones are still set to offer 3x optical zoom, whereas on these ones, the regular iPhone 14s, you would have no optical zoom at all. But like I said, the higher end models of both lineups are getting some pretty big upgrades. So on the iPhone side, they're getting a brand new 48 megapixel sensor, And then on Samsung side, the Ultra is said to be getting a brand new 200 megapixel sensor. Now, in terms of which one is going to be better, we'll have to wait and see. I think processing is going to be king here, as these are both brand new sensors for both companies, and we know that Samsung took quite a number of years until they managed to optimize the 108 megapixel sensor on the Ultra model. So we'll have to see how well Apple manages to do that with the 48 megapixel sensor, which would be the first megapixel increase since the iPhone 6s from 2015. But really, the S23s, the regulars, would be more comparable camera-wise to the iPhone 14 Pros, and then the Ultra will be in a league of its own, really. More on the S23 and the iPhone 14s right after this. So on a different subject, do you struggle keeping your accounts secure online? It's more important than ever to secure all of your data, and with that in mind, we partnered with NordPass to offer you a special discount. NordPass is the well-renowned password manager, which allows you to not only store and streamline all of your passwords, but it can also monitor leaks from data breaches to ensure your information is not compromised. And to ensure optimal security into the future, NordPass can generate complex passwords, which you don't need to worry about remembering, as NordPass handles that too. You know the autofill feature on your devices? NordPass can utilize that, allowing all of your passwords to be used quickly and without frustration. On top of passwords, NordPass can also retain your payment and address information to provide a smooth and secure shopping scenario. In an ever-connected world, securing your online accounts is so important. NordPass is offering an exclusive offer for a 2-year plan alongside an extra month for when you use the coupon code ZONEofTECH or visit nordpass.com/ZONEofTECH. And now, back to the video. Now, when it comes to the actual display, the main difference aside from the size is going to be the refresh rate. Samsung is said to have 120 Hz on all models, whereas with Apple, you would only have 120 Hz on the Pro models of the iPhone and not the regular ones. The iPhone 14 Pros are also getting always-on functionality, which is awesome, but Samsung offers this on all 3 models. And like I said, with the 14 Pros, you do get that pill-shaped cutout, which is awesome, as it doesn't cut into the content as much as the Notch did. But then on Samsung, you only have that single circle cutout on all models. The bezels are thinner on the 14 Pro compared to the 14, but at least from the leaks that we've seen, they're still not going to be as thin as on Samsung's phones. But I think display-wise, Samsung does win here, and not just because of the multiple display sizes, but also because of the higher refresh rates on the base models. Now, if you care about your battery lasting all day, then the iPhone is your best choice. Especially since with the 14s, the battery size is said to be increasing again. On the 14 Pros especially, we're also getting a new processor, the A16 Pro, which is also said to be more power efficient. So if you want the best possible battery life, that would be the iPhone 14 Pro Max. From my experience with the S22 Ultra and the iPhone 13 Pro, the 13 Pro lasted me for a day and a half, whereas the S22 Ultra usually lasts me for like a full day. However, on the Samsung side, you have faster charging. So the iPhones charge in about 50% in 30 minutes, and we're not expecting this to change at all with the iPhone 14. However, the S22 Ultra charged up to 50% in 20 minutes. We don't have any leaks in terms of if this is improving with the S23 or not, but even if it's staying the same, it would automatically be faster than the iPhones. Plus, we have reverse wireless charging on Samsung phones, and you have USB Type-C, which is not just more convenient, but it's also way better when it comes to transferring data. If you plan on using ProRes on the iPhone, trust me, it's impossible to transfer that using Lightning, because Lightning is USB 2.0 and it just takes forever. So the iPhone is better at lasting you for an entire day, but the Samsung is better for convenience. You have USB-C, fast charging, reverse wireless charging. If you are a techie person and you have a lot of USB-C devices and accessories, then Samsung is a way better choice, or at least until the iPhone 15 comes out, as that is when we will be finally getting USB Type-C. Another big difference when it comes to your pick will be in terms of the software experience, and we already know what iOS 16 and Android 13 bring new to the table, and sadly, we still don't have side-by-side multitasking in iOS 16. On Samsung, if you want to launch 2 apps at the same time, you can do that easily. You can even open up a window in this pop-up view and basically move it wherever you want, which is really useful. If you care about some even more advanced features, you have that on both. So you have Dex on Samsung, you have Siri shortcuts on the iPhone, you have focus mode on the iPhone as well, developer options on Samsung, Bixby shortcuts. So there's a lot of pro and advanced features on both here, but iOS on the iPhone definitely feels more polished compared to having more features on Samsung. On Samsung, for example, you can have whatever skin and launcher that you want. You can even have an iOS skin. But on the iPhone, the widgets are way better designed and everything flows and just works way smoother than on the Android side. And when it comes to customizability, we have custom launchers compared to custom icons, which are still a bit of a workaround on the iPhone. So again, it really depends on what you want. A more simplified, easier to use, and a more smooth system compared to the more options that Samsung offers you. So what about unique features? Is there anything that the S23 line will have? And what about the iPhone 14 Pro? Well, I think the biggest one is, of course, the S Pen on the S23 Ultra, which is still, it's still going to be here. And then also Samsung Music Share is pretty cool, as you can connect to someone who's already connected to an audio device and then control the music that way. Samsung also has a very unique app drawer, as in you can have folders inside of it and then keep your home screen free of anything. You can just have widgets here. The iPhone has a couple of different unique features, like Face ID compared to the ultrasonic fingerprint reader. We have LiDAR on the back, which is not that useful at the moment, but you can measure stuff and it's gonna become better in the future. And then the iPhone also has a better durability from my experience. My initial S22 Ultra got scratched heavily, and fun fact, I've actually dropped both of these phones a few times, and only the Samsung got a tiny dent in the frame. The iPhone is like perfectly fine. The iPhone also offers you these permanent camera filters that would apply to every single photo that you take. And I've also found the iOS backup restore function to be far superior to Samsung's, as it transfers basically everything, even the app logins, and yeah, everything you need. Whereas with Samsung, you still have to set up stuff like the wallpaper and the actual app icon arrangements. You have to do that through the Samsung account. And the iPhone has way more advanced accessibility features if you need them. And in terms of the overall value that you get with these phones, honestly, I'm not even gonna mention the specs because they're both very, very fluid. I think the main difference here would be in terms of the storage, which is actually the same 128 base on all models, and then the higher end models on both can go up to 1 terabyte. Price-wise, the S23 is set to start from $800, then $1,000 and $1,200, and with the iPhone 14s, they are set to cost $800, then $900 for the 14 Max, $1,100 and $1,200 for the 14 Pro Max. So I think the regular S23 is still going to be the best option in terms of what it offers, like you get a telephone module as well. And then also the 14 Max, as you get a huge display and also an amazing battery life. But keep in mind that Samsung offers constant discounts and benefits and offers, which Apple does not. And they also tend to drop in price much faster than the iPhones do. Essentially, Apple's lifestyle works better if you get all of their products, but it's also way more expensive than Samsung's. Samsung's, on the other hand, has way more exciting releases like the Z Fold. You have more innovative features like 10x optical zoom, reverse wireless charging, and a lot of stuff like that. But I think the cool thing with Apple is that if you get an iPhone now, you don't really have to worry about Apple launching multiple iPhone models over the course of next year. You just know that, oh, there's a new iPhone model in September every year, same for the Apple Watch. Whereas with Samsung, there's constant updates and, new mid-range models, and you have the Z Fold, and yeah, just different lineups that, I don't know, might make you jealous that you don't have them. So if you're thinking of waiting for one, I would say only wait for the iPhone 14 Pro, because the S23 Ultra is not actually going to be that much of an upgrade over the S22 Ultra. But the iPhone 14 Pros, of course, they would have that new design on the front and massively improved camera. So yeah, I would say wait for the iPhone, probably don't for the S23 Ultra, and just get the S22 Ultra as it's already really, really good. But yeah, let me know, what do you guys think? I'm Daniel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. ZONEofTECH signing out. Cheers.